A look at the local dailies. All right, and today we start off with a Star because it captures on the front page at least two of the main discussion points this week matters politics. One, what's happening with ODM and the Raila family, the Odinga family in pale chini Mount Kenya, and what's happening in Mount Kenya. So, on the main story, Oburu convenes mega Luo meet amid family war. This is what is featuring on the spread, pages 4 and 5. Analysts warn that move by Raila's family could hurt Ruto's chances. Yesterday we were asking who stands to benefit with this fallout in ODM. So pale wameandika masuala mengi tu, wanasema we'll be meeting as Luo community on Saturday at Siala Hotel. The meeting will be attended by over 2,000 elders and community leaders from the 4 counties. So will they be reconciling the family? Am I reconciling ODM? Yes, that's a story. And they say analysts warn that the move by Raila's family could hurt Ruto's chances, especially in Nyanza, and tear apart the Orange Party.
The thing is, will the family attend it? They're reconciling ODM or will the family attend? You
know, Oburu is also part of the Odinga family, so at least him is the convener, the other side of the, yeah. So yes, is it really a family problem, or is it a succession problem within the party? Because now this is turning into something else. Even why are they reducing the wrangles within ODM into a family issue? But anyway, that's one of the main stories. The other main story, of course, is what's happening in Mount Kenya region, how Ruto moves have jolted Gachagua to camp in Mount Kenya for 60 days. So during Saturday's meeting at Sagana State Lodge, a few meters from Gachagua's Wamunyoro home, the president said he was targeting to double his 2022 votes in the region. President Ruto, by the way, anasema tio haja campaign, alikuwa anaenda tu Nyota Fund, he was just celebrating those elected in the UDA grassroots elections, but he appears very keen on challenging for his stake in the Mount Kenya region. That story features on page 6. It is one of the biggest discussion points and what's happening with the DCP party. Other highlights, court holds building of Ngong Riruta railway line. In story tofauti. Former KCSE exam giants that do not roar anymore, and they talk about schools that used to be high performing at the KCSE exams and now are skiki. Paliju Museveni, at least we feature Museveni victory, and listen to this, and it's very interesting. So the Kenya Human Rights Commission says that Museveni's victory was created by artificial intelligence algorithm. So the use of technology, despite the fact that we did not have internet connectivity in Uganda, they still use technology one way or the other. That story is on page 2. They say humanly impossible. They say it was humanly impossible for Museveni to win. On the back page, matters football and other local sports. And that's a Star.
All right. People Daily, still Mount Kenya politics given prominence here. Inside Ruto's strategy to woo back Mount Kenya. This story is on page 4. His appointment are all here. Sabina Shege, Jen Kagiri, Eric Wamumbi, John Junguna, Kithure Kindiki, Alice Ng'ang'a, Joseph Munyoro, Betty Najma, is that? Maina, Betty Maina, and Mwangi Kiunjuri.
You could add a few more names there. Gadoni Wamoshomba is now on the side. Ule George Koimburi is also there, and a few other names that are now appears to be supporting. Even this guy, Joseph Munyoro, was a hitherto DCP ardent supporter. I don't know what's happening. A lot of movement. It's like an exodus back to supporting.
Gachagua said these are spies.
They were spies. And then there must have been quite a lot of spies. But you realize, if no one else noticed, Moses Kuria appeared to have left government. He went and fielded a candidate in Mbeere North who got 2,000 votes, helping Wamuthende beat the other one. Then he came back and said, now I support Ruto. Yeah, just like that.
Well, Winnie versus Oburu, the family rift threatening ODM's future. So ODM, still a big story as well. That's the People Daily.
Right. The Daily Nation has very different kind of stories on the front page. They talk about a cash crisis in the counties. They talk about matters of education. They talk about matters in the judiciary. So let's start off with the main one. 68 billion shilling cash crisis cripples counties. Governors say Treasury has not wired funds for 2 months, warning that devolved units struggling to pay salaries and suppliers and now relying on bank loans risk shutdown, disrupting hospitals and schools. However, CS Mbadi insists there is no crisis. And this CS has kept on saying, for the very first time we've released money, for the very first time we've released money. For the very first time where kama county hawajapata pesa. Wewe wacha kutuambia hiyo maneno yako. If all these counties cannot be wrong. That story is on page 6. And you know, there's this thing about former MPs who get into cabinet and they still talk like politicians. CS Mbadi is one of them. Listening to him on any podium, you'd still think he's a politician, but he's a CS, and he keeps telling people how he has released funds. Then why is this headline on the front page? Na akisikia atakasirika sana, lakini lazima tukuambie CS Mbadi, wachilia pesa. Kama hakuna pesa, unasema hakuna pesa. He says we have begun releasing the December allocation, with Nairobi already releasing its share. Why is Nairobi getting preference? Anyway, contractors are becoming very wary of county projects, as Makueni Governor Mutula. We are looming strike by clinical officers in Nyeri. We have bursary that we should have released, that's Kirinyaga, with schools opening and other development works. Anyway, matters education, Turkana has the lowest turnout. Mandera tops in grade 10 admissions. Mandera tops.
Wow.
Yeah, interesting. So in Turkana, have the least number of students reported for grade 10 as the numbers of learners rolled into senior schools rose to 831,000. Yeah. Those registered by media yesterday accounted for 77% of the 1.1 million junior school graduates. Only 25% of learners placed in schools in Turkana have reported. By contrast, 95% of students have joined schools in Mandera, which is quite impressive. That's straight on page 7. We have another lawyer on the front page, amekuwa akipigana Supreme Court. So apparently now Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi has backed down in a fight with the Supreme Court judges. This was not said by him. It was said by his colleagues, Paul Muite and Fred Ngatia, because they were appearing in court. Kuna ile kesi ilisemekana Supreme Court haitasikia if at all Ahmed Nasir is the one representing them in court. So these are two lawyers wakienda wakasema, amesema atawacha hiyo maneno. Mbona yeye mwenyewe asiseme amewacha?
Wanamsemea.
Wanamsemea. All right. Matters Shakahola ziko kule ndani, hiyo kesi inaendelea. Hold your horses, Jaramogi's clan tells Winnie and Raila Jr. And this is totally, you realize that today when it comes to ODM it's about family. Hata washughuliki na kina Sifuna, it's about kule ndani Eliud Owalo ameweka hapo kitu moja kubwa, anasema from Kibera to the presidency. Eliud Owalo hawaachi hiyo maneno. Back page matters. AFCON still receiving a lot of prominence on the back page. AFCON 2027 set for record prize money as 2025 winner Senegal pockets 1.3 billion shillings. Remember 2027 AFCON will be played in Nairobi. The finals. That's the Daily Nation.
All right. The Standard Wetang'ula questioned, this is about Cyrus Jirongo, and while police insist the car crash that killed former Lugari MP was an accident, detectives have already questioned more than 20 people, including Speaker Moses Wetang'ula, as they dig into the final hours of a death that refuses to go away. Alizikwa na toche?
Yeah. Juzi nilikuwa nimesikia ni kama tochi imeanza kuzima, alafu jamaa kaenda hospitali. Sijui ni jamaa mgani lakini.
Tami nilisikia. As investigators piece together timelines and forensic evidence, politicians remain unconvinced, openly questioning the official narrative and demanding answers to what they insist are troubling inconsistencies. Unanswered questions, according to this newspaper: how did Cyrus Jirongo find himself in Naivasha? Investigators want clarity on his movements before the crash, including where he was coming from. Was Jirongo driving himself is another question. Detectives are seeking confirmation on whether the former Lugari MP was personally behind the wheel throughout the trip or whether another person may have driven the vehicle at any point. Authorities are establishing the identities, seating positions and accounts of passengers on board the Busia-bound bus, whose testimonies could help reconstruct the moments before impact. Washaijitokeza kweli? We've never seen this 60 people or 60 plus.
Hakuna mwenye amepatikana.
Investigators are probing whether the safety systems malfunctioned, had been tampered with, or were compromised by the nature and angle of the collision. They say, why did the airbags of Girongo's Mercedes-Benz fail to deploy after the impact? And detectives are analyzing medical and forensic findings to determine whether the injuries align with a high-impact road collision or suggest unusual circumstances leading to death. Why were Jirongo's injuries allegedly inconsistent with those of a typical car crash? Yesterday, Wetang'ula was questioned. That's the only story on the front page. Now, chaos as Mukuru residents clashed with police during demolitions yesterday. Bulldozers moved in at around 5 a.m. and began demolishing structures, and violence erupted after residents was allegedly shot by a police officer in Mukuru kwa Jenga. Safaricom and KPC sale, why Ruto faces scrutiny over disposal of key assets. Na Ndindi Nyoro amekuwa sana kwa mgongo yake, amwachili. Kiharu MP alleges individuals negotiated deals without contracts or government authorization, seeking secrecy. And critics also argue that Safaricom and KPC sell risk undervaluing the economic importance. On the back page, Africa Cup of Nations refereeing gets a red card. Senegal players left the pitch after Morocco awarded a penalty in the AFCON final. There had been mistrust shown to match officials over the 3 weeks of the competition. And that's the Standard.
From the Standard we go to Taifa Leo, na tutaharakisha kidogo. Vyama vya mlo vyaongezeka. Wanazungumzia vyama zaidi ya vyama 30 vya kisiasa vimepokea vyeti vya muda kwa usajili, huku siasa za mwaka ujao zikianza kushika kasi. Mwezi huu pekee vyama vitatu vimeorodheshwa kwa usajili, huku vingine 27 vikisajiliwa kati ya Machi na Disemba mwaka jana. Vyama vilivyosajiliwa Januari ni Forum for Economic Development Agenda FEDA, People's Renaissance Movement PM na Forward Kenya Party FKP. Sasa wanasema mabilioni kutoka hazina ya vyama vya kisiasa yamefanya vyama kuwa biashara inayoandamana na utajiri. And this is the reason why people are focused on what's happening with ODM. Some people ask, kwa nini tunazungumzia ODM? No. ODM is among the highest funded by the taxpayer. Ni pesa yetu. Hata ile inaenda UDA ni pesa yetu. Lazima tuulize, hizi vyama mbona wanafanya vitu tu ni kama ni briefcase, and it's an organization funded by the taxpayer. Magavana wadai kaunti ziko hatarini, kwingine ukabila, siasa za ugavana zikichacha, na Trump aibua misukosuko muhula wa pili. Pale juu Babu akana kumtafuta Gachagua. Na masuala ya AFCON, mkufunzi wa Senegal pabaya. Aliambiwa wewe sasa kutakuwa na shida. Amekuwa suspended by CAF. That's the Taifa Leo.
Finally, Business Daily. Kenya locks e-teams locations in 30 billion shillings fraud crackdown. Geo-referencing technology to help catch tax cheats and taxmen losing billions to fictitious invoice annually. That's the story on page 2. 3 billion shillings windfall for advisors in KPC's stake sale.
Wait, advisors too? 3 billion.
That's a lot. Another story on page 2. On the ticker, Kenya's debt servicing cost hit 942 billion shillings in first 6 months. And they say that Kenya's debt servicing cost jumped to 44% in the first half of the current financial year, increasing pressure on public finances, according to Treasury data.
But tuliambiwa ni kama mambo imeimprove, lakini ni Treasury data. Kwa hivyo, what we are being told in public vis-a-vis what's down on paper, kuna mambo mingi sana.
All right. Safaricom to roll out tokenized Wi-Fi plans, and investors switch 25 billion shillings into lower return bond.
This one is very interesting. Tokenized Wi-Fi plans ni kama ya stima, ikienda ikisha una update tu saa hiyo. All right, ama unaambiwa bundles zimeisha. So these are the dailies, and of course a lot of ODM and Mount Kenya politics. Mesha Kodede, social political commentator, will be with us today, alongside Advocate of the High Court Harrison Kenyanjui and Senior Counsel Charles Kanjama, who's gunning for the presidency of the Law Society. He'll be with us in studio in a few minutes' time.
Where are the men is a question you're asking this morning on Relationship Wednesday. Why social events are now a women-only affair?
All right, tuangazie Karakacha wanazungumzia nini.